But these surface level similarities only highlighted for me that the design philosophies underlying the games could not be more opposed. If you were a designer that actually cared about nuanced, multifaceted game mechanics, you would not make a single choice that this game makes. If you ask me, making single-screen arcade games like this is basically the best starting point you can have as a game designer, because anybody can make this kind of game, but making one that actually holds people's attention is one hell of a challenge. When your mechanical scope is so minuscule, you seriously have to think through every design decision you make, maximizing the amount of overlap between each mechanic.
I'm getting real tired of this Vampire Survivor slander.
These bullshit's blazing, still my heart is blazing. If the words kill me, I don't need a new one.
You know, originally I was going to make this video as kind of like a response video to the original developer just absolutely pooping on this game. But you know what? I had a better idea. I'm going to give this the full Gara treatment, and if anybody understands what that means, you know what's about to happen. Meaning that I'm going to review their video game on top of comparing the Vampire Survivors with their game and how bad their game is in contrast to Vampire Survivors. So before we start this video, please go grab yourself a drink and a snack because this one's going to be a bit of a doozy, so let's jump right into it.
Back in January of 2021, I released a game called Endless Overdrive. It was a small project I developed over the course of about 2 months, an arcade title where you move across a grid playing field, shooting blocks and building combos.
So since we got the direct word from the developer that made Endless Overdrive, you now understand, and I am not taking it out of context, of what the game has been developed to be. But a lot of you are sitting there thinking to yourselves, Gar, what's the point of this video? Well, we're about to get to the meat and bones of that. And if you're from Klutzy's channel, you already know where this is going.
A system that lacks ambiguity, where every choice can be boiled down to clear right or wrong, can hardly be considered a game at all. This is why I find the explosive success of Vampire Survivors so concerning.
You're gonna regret it.
You know what this sounds like to me? This sounds like a case of
you die again and again and again. Because that's all you're really going to spend most of your time doing. You're going to die because the game has no easy difficulty. The difficulty spikes when you get to certain bosses. It's so unfair that you'll find yourself spending so many hours losing time away from your life.
See, I'm sorry that Vampire Survivors was a really hard game for you to understand, when it's just basically understanding that you're getting weapons, power-ups, and trying to survive to the best of your ability. Now, with this game right here, Endless Overdrive, this person that has made, is really the basics of this game is that all you're doing is avoiding blocks, especially the red one, building a combo up so you can survive and blast the other box. That's really it for the game.
First time I played it, I was really struck by how much it reminded me of Endless Overdrive. Both games have automated attacks and swarms of enemies that come at you from all sides of the screen with simplistic movement. But these surface level similarities only highlighted for me that the design philosophies underlying the games could not be more opposed. I have never in my life played something so hostile to the concept of depth and decision making as Vampire Survivors. If you were a designer that actually cared about nuanced, multifaceted game mechanics, you would not make a single choice that this game makes.
No, the only game I've ever played in my life that's so hostile to the depth and innovation is basically Endless Overdrive. This is just a one-track game that does not innovate, unlike Vampire Survivors. Vampire Survivors, if you actually played into it and actually evolved your items, you can actually make discoveries around the map, like you can actually find some coffins, unlock new characters that have new weapons, you can find a grimoire to where you can actually fuse weapons together. And not to mention, you just don't look at this checkerboard right here. You actually have 12 maps on Vampire Survivor. Not to mention that you have weapons like a variety, like if you want to use long distance, close distance, medium range, and the support items in this game really do complement those weapons. Hell, if you actually get the right items, like I said before, you could fuse them together and make a pretty big, bulky, destructive weapon. It's fucking awesome.
The most obvious way to show this would be the enemy design, the thing that even people who like the game complain about.
I haven't seen a single review or anybody complain about how the enemies look in Vampire Survival. But I will tell you this, you're going to hear a complaint from me about how I only see boxes on here. What's wrong with having circle triangles? What's up with that, huh? Or octanes? What's wrong with that?
Every enemy here does the same thing. They walk towards you. Some do this a little bit faster, some do it while having slightly more health, but that's it. Did you expect that skeletons carrying different weapons would attack you in different ways, or attack you at all? Nope, they just apathetically limp at you, same as all the rest. With only a few incredibly infrequent exceptions, that is the most you're getting out of this enemy roster.
See, if you picked any other map besides the Mad Forest, you would actually see that, like, oh man, there are some different enemies here that do different things. Oh man, what's going on the ground? Why are these traps activating? There is more to this game than just playing that one level. Now for Endless Overdrive, I can't really say that much because there's only one level to do, well, what you really don't see on screen.
Since there's no meaningful differentiation between enemy types, there's also no reason to ever prioritize killing certain enemies over others, and considering that the majority of the levels are endless fields devoid of level hazards or geometry, there's no positional aspect to combat either. Walking away from an enemy before it can touch you is the full extent of the combat depth you can expect from Vampire Survivors.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
Ooh, swing and a miss. Yeah, there's actually enemies that you do need to prioritize, like this little mantis right here. Big boss, yeah, and if you manage to kill it, it drops the chest, and it gives you a chance to give you some free items to boost up, and you get gold from it. Not to mention, if you actually have the correct items, it'll actually fuse items together for you, so you can actually have stronger weapons. But Endless Overdrive over here is just run away, shoot, run away, shoot, run away, shoot. That's all this game really is. You run away, you shoot box, and rinse and repeat. That's it.
Real draw to the game then is its progression system. Killing enemies awards you with EXP gems, granting you new weapons and abilities with each level up. Hypothetically, this adds some actual meat to the game, allowing you to come up with highly personalized builds for your characters. In practice, it's essentially meaningless, as the upgrades you're allowed to choose from are randomized every time you level up, and each weapon is already poorly differentiated to begin with.
See, that's the funny thing though, because I could tell the difference between the whips, the time freezing ring, and the garlic. And then Endless Overdrive, the only things that you have to worry about is the little pew pew white shoots and the red shoots. Basically, the white shoots stun the moving blocks, and then the red shot destroys those moving blocks. The combat system within Endless Overdrive is just endlessly boring and tiring and mind-numbing to the mind that I would rather go play COD.
Since they're all passive and almost never have unique attack properties, you're only choosing weapons based on their range and damage output. To the game's credit, there is a small sliver of strategizing here, as it's important to choose weapons that cover different ranges, but that's hardly enough of a choice to build an entire combat system.
See, that's the funny part though. There is enough equipment as like support items and weapons in order to, how could I say this, slaughter the creatures of the night. As an Endless Overdrive situation, you only have two types of weapons that just go pew and stun and kill the enemies. That's really it. There's no variation of spicing up the game. It's just you go in this direction, you shoot, and you hope to God that your combo goes up in order to destroy those white blocks, and you just repeat and do the whole same thing again.
The problem is that the fundamental actions of movement and attacking lack any real depth. As a result, despite the fact that you can build characters with wildly varying loadouts, those choices have no effect on your playstyle. Regardless of whether you're controlling a damage tank or a glass cannon, a slow-moving death machine or a quick-footed wimp, the way you view and approach combat encounters is identical. If you see an enemy, walk into them until they die, but if they're going to walk into you first, run away. This is not combat design, this is nothing.
See, that's the problem when you only play the game for like maybe an hour or two. But here's the thing though, you can unlock more items to where you can increase your speed and you could be so fast that you just fly right through the enemies. Or you can make a build to where you farm gold, and then you can go back to the upgrade screen and upgrade your stuff and make yourself stronger. Also, on top of that, there is stats in this game that depend on your character. So say like if you were picking the old man that has the garlic, he's not slow, but he doesn't have very much health as the other characters. If you pick the other characters, like the ghost one, I can't remember its name right now, it is much faster and has better luck than the other characters. See, even some of the characters, oh, I should say all the characters, have passives too. Like Gennaro, the guy that throws the knife, which is one of my favorite characters. Yeah, his passive allows him to have a permanent projectile, meaning all the projectiles, like the book, the knives, I get an extra knife, I get an extra book, I get an extra whip. But in Endless Overdrive, there is nothing else. All you're doing is moving around, shooting a little pellet at other boxes. There is nothing in depth about this game, except the only thing that you have to worry about, yet again, is the other boxes and your combo meter. That's it.
And everything to do with the amount of time you've sunk into the game. As I've discussed, combat being as shallow as it is means that there's no skills you can feasibly improve at as a player. The way you play the game 20 hours in is exactly the same way you were playing 10 minutes in. The only avenue for improvement is spending hours grinding money so you can buy permanent stat upgrades and extra characters. This is why I consider the game to be predatory and honestly morally reprehensible. As a game designer, you have a responsibility to not waste people's fucking time.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You are a fucking idiot.
See, I'm going to say this real quickly. You may consider playing this game as a waste of time, but that's what video games are. It's to waste time and just get away from the world of how fucked up it really is. 2 versus the 10 minutes versus the 2 hours I played in the game. Between those two, when I hit the 2-hour mark, I finally understood what I needed to do. I needed to grind to get money in order to get myself stronger. I needed to unlock more items. I needed to find different characters so they could fit certain situations. Everything you do in Vampire Survivor contributes you to getting better at the game. In Endless Overdrive, you just have to pay attention to the pretty little boxes that move. And probably thanks to Endless Overdrive, I think a few of my brain cells have endgamed themselves because how boring and trivial and lack of depth this game has compared to Vampire Survivors. So I would like to thank you very much for making a game that is absolutely worthless. I'm going to stop this B-roll of a garbage game, and I'm going to put some Vampire Survivor footage on.
To build games which actually engage players mentally, testing their ability to adapt to new situations and solve problems. A game that ropes you into devoting hours of your life to it in return for nothing but completely unearned hits of dopamine is malicious and evil.
That's malicious? That's malicious to give somebody a challenge, and once they conquer it, they gain a reward for it? So getting gold, unlocking things, unlocking characters, unlocking stages for your hard work, what you did, is malicious. Where the fuck were you when loot boxes were running rampant as hell in the gaming industry? I'll bet you guys $10 this person was probably buying the loot boxes from Overwatch.
Even if you're of the belief that this game isn't technically predatory because it lacks microtransactions, you at the very least have to admit that this style of game design is wide open to exploitation. It's only a matter of time before some AAA company copies Vampire Survivors verbatim, only with even more addictive gameplay slathered in microtransactions. Game design is the art of decision-making, presenting players with a complex, evolving knot to untangle, problems which force you to think beyond the present moment and consider what consequences might happen in the future. But Vampire Survivors has it completely backwards. This is a game only concerned with the past, an entire system whose sole purpose is to highlight the mild satisfaction of realizing that your stats are bigger than they were 5 minutes ago, that you're killing more enemies than you were 5 minutes ago. There is nothing beyond that. There is no future in Vampire Survivors.
I'm sorry, did you just blame other people's actions on the developer that made this game? That makes zero sense. All this guy wanted to do was develop a game for people to enjoy and actually create a gameplay loop that is actually enjoyable. Also, there's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing manipulative about that whole the numbers going up, you're killing enemies quicker, you're actually progressing, you're seeing your progression actually go up, you're actually seeing your hard work pay off. And you know what, that's kind of funny though that you say Vampire Survivors doesn't have a future. Well, spoiler alert, Steam would like to really disagree with you. And actually, let's look you up on let's look you up on Steam. But I know why it's not on Steam, and I'll tell you guys towards the end of the video. Let's just digest this video first.
The fact that the project has already been successful enough to have spawned imitators makes me feel embarrassed to believe in video games. This is artistically worthless dreck that displays a stunning lack of imagination and curiosity for game design as an art form.
Oh, here we go again, blaming the developer for actions that other people have done. That is just the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my life anybody would do. It absolutely amazes me these type of people actually exist. And another thing, stop projecting your project onto Vampire Survivors. Because it's honestly sad that you think that your game is so much better than Vampire Survivors, when the guy that has made Vampire Survivors has dedicated so much time into this project and has made a fantastic product. I would buy this game over 100 times, knowing that it will have the same quality over and over again just for me to enjoy.
Left with is an ever-expanding turd, continuously polished to the delight of a captive audience. And if that's the future of video games, I don't want to be a part of it.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out, 'cause I don't want ass prints on my new door.
Now, I am going to make a bit of a spoiler alert, though, too. There is a second video out there this person has made, and I'm just going to be frankly honest, this person has just done nothing but repeat the same absolute bullshit. And I'm not here to waste your time, unlike this person has. But there's some other things I would like to address on the side. Like I said earlier, like there's going to be some bonus content to this. So I wanted to say this real quickly. This person is not a good person. I'm going to say this right now. The way this person has handled the controversy of what's happened with Vampire Survivors and their opinion on Vampire Survivors is very, very poor. This person has made serious accusation against fellow content creators such as Klutzy and Asmongold. I'll get to Asmongold in the next couple minutes. I really want to talk about Klutzy. So basically in this little community tab, she is accusing KlutzyKing of being a transphobe because they didn't do the research when all KlutzyKing really wanted to do was just make a video arguing against the person's points. So in her little community post, she decided, so the other day a channel by the name of KlutzyKing put out a hit piece about me, which sent another small wave of hate my way. They misgendered me in the title, so they are either a transphobe or just someone who can't be bothered to learn the basic information about me. So I didn't bother watching their video. Lol. Anyway, this has gotten me thinking about this whole Vampire Survivors debacle again. I've debated doing a post-mortem video of the whole situation because getting dogpiled suddenly after spending 8 years on this channel going completely under the radar has to be the strangest experience I've had in a long time. But this recent attack from this loser has made me realize that these people honestly want to turn me into some kind of locale and use me to farm cheap clicks, and I'm not interested in playing that game. So comments on my Vampire Survivors video are now permanently off, and now I'm not going to be discussing this game in a public capacity again. I'm not going to let my identity on the internet be intrinsically linked to my petty drama, an idle game that I don't even like, and I'm just going to continue doing what I've been doing on this channel for years, celebrating game design. And hey, I'm literally 1 subscriber away from hitting 500. I know that's a relatively small number in the grand scheme of things, but I sincerely doubted I would ever come this close to it. Thanks everyone. Really wish I wasn't being brought over the finish line by a handful of people. Hate following me, but a number is a number, eh? And this is why I say gatekeeping is a very important thing. We do not want these type of people to be in our industry, treating people how she treated Klutzy in this situation. Absolutely just putting him on blast when only Klutzy, what only Klutzy wanted to do was just do a discussion video. That's it. But in all honesty, I consider this a W for Klutzy because I'm going to be completely honest. She went for the low-hanging fruit in this situation. Gender politics instead of having a discussion about video games, which she so desperately wants to do. Now, if you thought Klutzy was the only one that got this type of treatment from this person, I'm going to bring something up for you. Asmongold was actually treated to this same type of situation from the same developer. Now, unfortunately, I could not get the original footage, but shout out to Vosh, Vash, I think, that's his original channel. I'll put a link in the description so you guys can go watch the video for yourself, but I'm going to borrow a couple clips just to show you what the developer said about Asmongold.
We're gonna see why. He says some really wild shit, and not just about Asmongold. He kind of gets the big shovel and tries to like take from the pack of gold as much as he can, put it in the fucking bag.
A channel by the name of Asmongold, currently sitting at 1.6 million subscribers.
Yeah, Asmongold, small indie company, nobody knows the streamer.
Reacted to my video live on stream, which immediately caused a flood of hateful, frequently transphobic and ableist comments on my work. Comments were not constructive or well-intentioned in any way, they were purely hateful.
Yeah, what was he talking about is that after Asmongold featured him in his channel, be it for bad publicity or good publicity, doesn't really matter for what, he wanted his video removed. At the same time, Asmongold unpublished the video because this guy wanted the video removed.
I panicked, considering that as I only had about 350 subscribers at the time, I had never experienced such strong hate in my entire life. I was told by a friend of a friend that I could message one of Asmon's Discord moderators in order to prevent the stream clip from getting uploaded onto Asmon's YouTube channel, and so I contacted a moderator by the name of FreeJam about it to save myself the headache of having to deal with reactionary teenagers for any longer. Asmon's team had lied to me,
Asmon's team, okay,
and uploaded the video anyway, where
lied to him and uploaded the video anyway.
It remained publicly available for the following few hours, racking up a cool 140,000. Team saw sense and unlisted the video. Now, I'm not a mind reader, but it's pretty clear to me what happened here. Asmon saw me as an easy target and wanted to use me to generate as many hate clicks as he could, conceding to me after I had been milked for all I was worth. The fact that he has still not deleted the video is proof of that. I was promised the video would never be uploaded in the first place, not unlisted, where it's still receiving views, and was sending more hate my way before I finally snapped under the pressure and set all my videos to private. This situation is water under the bridge and moving on. However, just this afternoon, Asmon uploaded a video onto his second channel claiming that he had kept his word about removing the video, which is a lie, and called me pathetic for asking him to remove the video in the first place.
The guy who did the video on vampire survivors, you know, I've been very open about if I react to somebody's video and they don't like it or they don't want the video to be up, I will always take them down. And unfortunately, this person has invoked that. They asked me to take down the video, and because I always do it, I took it down. However, you are pathetic. I cannot even believe that you had the audacity to ask me to do that. The fact that you could criticize another fucking game for whatever reason you want, you are completely within your right to criticize it. But the moment that somebody criticizes your criticism, you want it shut down. If your video got very popular and everybody started harassing the person who made Vampire Survivors, and then the person who made Vampire Survivors goes and says, hey, please take your video down, I'm getting harassed, I wonder if that would have happened.
In my closing thoughts, there's really nothing I haven't said what I already said, but just to wrap this up, your gender is not the problem. Your attitude is what the problem. And what it really encourages me in my ways to gatekeep you out of the video game industry, because the way you treated Klutzy, Asmongold, and Asmongold's team proves to me that you can't take criticism worth shit. And honestly, I think you should just get off the internet, because if you can't handle that type of criticism, where they actually give you positive criticism, not just being absolutely toxic assholes, you don't need to be in this industry. You need to go somewhere else and do something else with your life. But anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. I really do appreciate it. And if you guys enjoyed this type of content, please subscribe, like, and comment in the comment section. It lets me know you like this type of content and you want this more type of content. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm really fucking tired, so I'll see you guys Friday morning, and we'll play some Dead Space together, the remake. And oh boy, I tell you guys, I can't wait to get my hands on Dead Space. Yeah!